Welcome back from the break, and we have the students of University of Central Punjab over here with some of our visiting American friends. But do you still trust your intelligence after Iraq? I mean, when they kept on telling you about weapons of mass destruction and didn't even come up as much as with hydrogen gas can over there? I mean, CIA was a lot of gas bag over there, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I will say, as far as the media concerns, and I was working at Newsweek in 2003 at this specific time, I remember very clearly I was very skeptical about the entire justification for the Iraq War, and very few, my colleague Chris Dickey was one of the very few journalists in the world who said absolutely under no condition should we invade Iraq, because it will be decades and decades and decades of occupation. So on that case, I was not satisfied with the intelligence that was presented and with Colin Powell at the UN and any of that. Intelligence is a tricky thing because we don't think of the times when it leads us in the right direction. We think of the times when you know, there are ridiculous mistakes.
You see, what we feel over here is, and maybe you should answer that, we feel that even the American public at times is misled into believing things that are not true, really. Do you get that feeling sometimes as well?
Sure, but I think all publics are misled. So I think, do you think that the Pakistani public is sometimes misled by the media, by the government? So I think that there...
Well, we lie to them all the time, don't worry. I mean, we keep on telling them about Mr. Zardari being so good and efficient. I mean, when they all know the answer to that, yeah.
Sure, I think it's possible that I think the American public is certainly misled, you know, at times, but I think having a vibrant and free media that is very investigative is part of that check and balance, and it doesn't always work. There are times when it fails itself.
But you see, sometimes when we read a story in the Washington Post or the New York Times, and there's a leak, you know, and that story suddenly appears on the front pages, we assume that, you know, somebody within the State Department has leaked them, because Washington Post and New York Times, despite their credibility, have this question mark of being the mouthpieces of the U.S. government. Is that true?
Are they the mouthpieces of the U.S. government?
Yeah.
I would say absolutely not. That's one thing I can say unequivocally. Absolutely not. Yeah. But there are times
actually, that's the first question you've answered.
But there are times, I will say, when one journalist will make a mistake and the repercussions of that, you know, just echo.
Any questions?
I would second that.
Hi, my name is Nanjahangir. I have a very simple question for the media personnel from US. The question is simple, that whenever you say something on the media, you should be responsible for that thing, right? So you being the bigger one, the bigger country with higher pay scales mostly, and I just want to
I like that pay. I hope Niamir is listening to that. Higher pay scales, you know. I mean, yeah.
I just have the simple question that I read the news, Sri Lankan team got attacked in Pakistan, right? And my cousin calls me from America, and he asked me, did you guys attack Sri Lankan team? And I was like, what? And I just told him that it was a terrorist attack and somebody did it. And the same thing goes from 9/11. The thing was, terrorist attack, and there was a terrorist attack, and this many people got killed in USA. So the purpose, the basic question I just want to ask is that why aren't there so much responsible when they are giving news to the international media?
He's saying that there are different parameters for reporting when it comes to Pakistan for the same thing that happens to Americans. Why is that?
I would say from my publication, my two Newsweek colleagues who work directly on Pakistan issues have such a passion and love for Pakistan, and they take everything so seriously. You would be surprised how many editors look over a single story and obsess over every detail. We didn't report this particular incident that you're referring to, so I can't comment on who gave that reporting and why they reported it the way they did. I will say, though, Newsweek's, you know, as a Newsweek journalist, sometimes we report what we call quick hits in the front of the book, Periscope. And sometimes when things are reported directly after they occur, there isn't enough time to do deep investigative work and address the causes. And I think that's sometimes where these mistakes happen.
Very quickly, I would like you to ask the students some questions as well. Honestly, let's have the tables turned for a moment.
One of my friends who lives here in Pakistan and works for an American company told me that his daughter came home from school one day and said, "Daddy, I hate America, but I would like to go to school there." And I was wondering if anti-Americanism is somehow something that, is part of being a young Pakistani, or if you're able to separate, U.S. policy from the people and from what the country means.
Yeah. I'm Ghulam Dastagir, University of Central Punjab. I have to answer this question, and I must say, very recently I read a news item, and it said CIA doesn't need to dictate its position to the most disciplined institution of Pakistan, that is ISI. And similarly, when the people from Gilgit, they went all the way to America for some sort of representation on Pakistan's behalf. They were detained at the airport, and it was just an operation. They just went back to their country. And this is a similar sort of saying, as on one hand they say, the America, it says the extremists, they are Muslims, and on the other hand they are hurting the Muslims, they are doing blasphemies of their their religion, a sort of aggression is developing. On one hand they need Pakistan for supporting it in its war against terrorism, and on the other hand it's not only targeting the general public, it is also hurting their sentiments, all sort of sentiments that you can think of.
There's a very simple answer to that if any Pakistani wants to blame its own government for being corrupt and inefficient, and if they feel that the American government is supporting the government, then obviously you become the recipient of that hate and that distaste itself.
So my question is, since we came here, we've heard a lot of conflicting thoughts about the United States. On the one hand, we've heard the United States should leave us alone. On the other hand, we've heard the United States should give us aid and should compensate us for the price that we've paid in the war on terror, not just this one, but the previous, Afghan war and all of the price that Pakistan has paid. I guess I want to know, which is it? What do you want from the United States? Do you want the United States to leave completely? Or
to answer your question, I'd say that we like Americans, but we don't like American imperialism. What we don't like is the fact that America has the capability to declare war on Afghanistan because they thought that Osama bin Laden and Mullah Omar did that September 11, or because that they thought that Iraq has WMDs, or because they think that there is some sort of activity going on in the tribal region and then they can just come and bomb. This is the part of America that we don't like. This is the face of America that we don't like. We have no problems with Americans. And just to bring you back on your previous statement, those who fail to learn from history are bound to become lessons of history for those who are willing to learn. Americans know pretty well that Afghanistan has been the graveyard of many empires before them. The British failed. I can say this because I'm a Pashtun, and I'm a very proud Pashtun. And if there's one thing you can say about a Pashtun, it's that we don't go down without a fight. So if you're just going to bomb Afghanistan...
Give him a hand at least, give him a hand. He's a proud Pashtun, I like that.
So what I'm trying to say is that there were 100 different approaches that America could have adopted, like dialogue. Imran Khan, for once, in Pakistan, has been advocating this for quite some time, before drones started attacking in 2002 or 2004 in Pakistan. He has been saying that dialogue is the way forward. If America realizes that now, so what about all the cost of life that has been expended? What about all the people who have died? Americans just cannot shrug their shoulders and go like it's...
Fair enough. That's a very, very valid argument. Karin?
I have to say, I'm not a Pashtun, but I am right there with you because I understand what you're saying. And I do feel that I think it was a mistake. I think that terrorism is a law enforcement issue, an intelligence issue, not a military issue. I think that, I interviewed Mikhail Gorbachev a couple years ago, and he said, if you Americans came to me, I would have told you you're never going to win in Afghanistan. And you're right. I think that a lot more research should have been done. I think it was a mistake. I think it was handled wrong. And I do wonder where, it's almost an impasse similar to the Vietnam War. And I care about my country. I'm a proud American, but I can't defend a policy that I wouldn't have chosen myself.
Fair enough.
Somebody answer my question first?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, do you want America to leave, or do you want America
What do you
to be
want
your
us to do?
friend?
We want a collaboration between American media and Pakistani. This would work things out. In a sense that we as a media, what if it's the American media or the Pakistani media or any other international media, they shouldn't work on demonstrating or portraying the bad image or the better picture, the worst picture of any country, but they should also work on the good picture.
Are you satisfied with the answer?
Yeah. Did anyone else want to comment on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll answer your question, by the way. I think yes, we want the US to work with us because not only do we need US, but the US needs us also. But we want, but we want from
Forget
the
about
US.
the US for a minute. Do you need them or not? I mean, that's
Yes,
the
we
question.
do need them,
You
but they need to listen to
so
us.
say it. Yeah.
But they need to listen to us properly, and they need to respect
Why?
our.
I mean, if you need them and you're going to go to them for aid again and again, why should they listen to you? You
but
should
they also
listen to
need
them.
us. They
That's
also
the
need
whole
us to win
concept.
this war, or at least earn a respectable exit from this war. They also need us. We also need them. So let's listen to both
Anybody
sides of the
agrees
table.
with that? Everybody agrees with that?
I do.
Then raise your hands if you agree with him. And who doesn't agree with him? Anybody?
I do not agree on one point actually.
And what is that?
Well, basically, the aiding program which your guys providing is pretty good. I should appreciate that. But the point is that we should not be taking aid directly from you. We should be asking our government to provide us with the facilities. So you should be collaborating with the government, and they should be providing us with the facilities.
That's what they do. And when they do that, we claim that they are aiding corrupt government.
Corrupt government.
And when they give it to the people, that comes with the Kerry-Luga bill, we tell them they are bypassing the governments and bribing the individual. So what do they do? That's the whole question. Right, students of the University of Central Punjab, thank you very much for being with us today. Karin Smith, Saeed Bajwa and Hartman, thank you very much for being here with us today. And I hope we can sort of have more such interactions in the future as well. And if you could sort of bring more American journalists over here, and we would like to take them to the universities over there. And not just have a group of 20 students, but have a group of few thousand. And then, you'll have a better experience over there itself.
May I make a quick brief statement,
Please,
if possible? I just want to say that the United States and Pakistan may disagree on the best way forward for the partnership of both countries, but I would say that United States and Pakistan both agree that we wish Pakistan prosperity and success in the future. I think that's something that we can all agree on.
Thank you very much, and until the next time, Allah Hafiz.